Hi, I'm Jenna Picata, an academic technology specialist from the Santa Clara County Office of Education. And I'm here to teach you about the power of sketchnoting and how a simple doodle can lead to quicker problem solving and an increase of creative thinking, especially as it relates to STEAM. If you would like to follow along on this slide presentation, scan this QR code and you will get all of the slides and links on them, which I highly recommend because this is a very interactive presentation. So along the way, I encourage you to pause and play some of the games or sketch along and fast forward through any part that you want to get through quickly. For sketchnoting, you can definitely use paper and pens and pencils, so grab those if you feel comfortable using them. But there are plenty of free drawing apps out there to use, and here are some of my favorites. For links to these apps, you can go to the slide presentation with the QR code that I showed you earlier, or just scan this one. It'll take you straight to this slide, and then you can click on the different links to see how you can download the apps for your particular device. Before you go on, I would like you to make sure that you have an app downloaded or you have paper and pencil and a drawing tool so that you can participate in activities throughout this presentation. Now that you have your tool of choice, let's begin. Have you ever been told by a teacher to stop drawing or doodling in class? I can tell you that it's definitely happened to me. And I grew up thinking that doodling was always a bad thing. This is a 6-minute TED Talk by Sunny Brown, the author of The Doodle Revolution and founder of a creative consultancy. She teaches people in the workplace that visual thinking or doodling can actually help you process information and solve problems. If it is an effective strategy that's good enough for adults working in the workplace at big companies, then it's definitely a strategy that more students should be using in the classroom. Here's a clip from the TED Talk, and if you would like to watch the whole video, scan the QR code to learn more.
We think doodling is something you do when you lose focus, but in reality, it is a preemptive measure to stop you from losing focus. Additionally, it has a profound effect on creative problem solving and deep information processing. There are 4 ways that learners intake information so that they can make decisions. They are visual, auditory, reading and writing, and kinesthetic. Now, in order for us to really chew on information and do something with it, we have to engage at least 2 of those modalities, or we have to engage 1 of those modalities coupled with an emotional experience. The incredible contribution of the doodle is that it engages all 4 learning modalities simultaneously with the possibility of an emotional experience. That is a pretty solid contribution for a behavior equated with doing nothing.
All right. In that video, Sunny Brown defines the doodle as spontaneous marks to help yourself think. So the next time you go to doodle in class, maybe it's not such a bad thing. In Sunny's book, The Doodle Revolution, she describes the 3 Ps that are gifts from the doodle: power, performance, and pleasure. The act of me adding images to this sketch note forced me to make several connections with what those 3 words actually meant as I came up with visuals that I chose to pair with words on this page. Now imagine if I only wrote words, all the same size on a piece of notebook paper. It would have taken very little thought on my part to just copy those words down from a book. And visually, would you rather go and review notes that are just words on a piece of notebook paper, or something that looks more like this? Something that is visual and has different size text and different colors, really draws your eye to key important points and it's way more fun to look at in the end. In this sketch note about simple machines, the basic act of me copying down the images that were shown in the YouTube video that I watched, and then adding the quote, do more work with less effort or energy, it's such an easy and effective way to get your brain to start making those connections that help you lead to new ideas. The physical act of me drawing out these simple shapes and images got my brain thinking about where I can start to see simple machines in my everyday life. From this sketch, I could go on and branch off each simple machine and start making a list or draw images of examples in the empty spaces. That basic understanding of simple machines with a generated list of how I can find them in my household made it easier for me when I actually went to build a Rube Goldberg machine in my kitchen. Let's take a quick look. If you're someone who likes to learn more about a topic before really engaging in it, here are 3 great books that I would recommend to students to help you get started. You'll see me use the word sketchnote a lot in this presentation. That word actually comes from Mike Rohde, who created the word when he released his book, The Sketchnote Handbook. It essentially refers to taking notes with the use of visuals. The QR code on this page links to my site where you can learn more about the books that you see here and get even more resources about sketchnoting. Before getting into the actual sketchnoting, it's important that everyone is on the same page when it comes to the basics. Straight from Mike Rohde's sketchnoting handbook that I just mentioned, let's all engage in a simple activity together. All right. Let me stop my share just for a second. And what I want everybody to do is get their finger out and put it in the air. And we're just going to draw together. So I want you to draw a circle, draw a square, draw a triangle, draw a line, any type of line. It could be a straight line, it could be a squiggly line, and then draw a dot. If you can do those 5 things, congratulations, you can draw. Now let me get my screen back up. See this. The best part about sketchnoting is that you do not have to be an artist. As long as you know what your drawing is, then really that's all that matters. Mike Rohde says that sketchnotes are all about ideas, not art. Now, if you are an artist, that is great. You can create some beautiful sketch notes, but know that when you're sketchnoting, the goal is not to take a lot of time to create something grand and beautiful. It's really to get ideas down on the page as quick as possible. So I hope that you stick with me so that you can, even if you're not that comfortable drawing, I have some activities that are going to help you practice and help you build that confidence around drawing so that you can just add some visual elements. And some of those visual elements that you add on a page might just be words and you just putting a box around it. And that's a start to a sketch note. One easy, simple thing that I like to do is if I have my notes and I have something that I really need to think about or ponder, what I like to do is I like to simply just draw a cloud around it and then 3 circles like it's a thinking bubble. That's an automatic visual representation of something that I need to go back and think about for later. So with that, we're going to get into some playing next. There is no better way to learn than to play. So here are some quick games that will help with word associations and building confidence in drawing. Here's a simple activity that I like to play to show you that when you know how to draw one image, that image can actually represent multiple words. Let's try one together. And then if you like the activity, scan the QR code to finish the rest on your own. So this game is called Images to Words. And let me just open up the activity. And all you're going to need for this is a piece of paper and a pen or pencil. You're actually not going to be writing, you're just going to be drawing. You're not going to be drawing, you're going to be writing words. So let's go and take a look at the directions. All right, writing materials, check. Look at the image and start the timer. Write down number 3. Write down the words that can be associated with that image. And then number 4 is repeat steps until you have words for at least 4 images. And then at the very end, we have a Padlet so that you can compare your words to what some other people came up with. So let's begin. Here's your first image, and I want you to take your pencil. When I press start, you're going to have 30 seconds to write down as many words as you can associated with this image. All right, ready? And I'll do it with you. Go. All right, well, 30 seconds is pretty quick, and count down the numbers that you have. Right now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I somehow think that maybe I could have done a little bit better, but that's okay. So I'm going to read out the words that I came up with, and then you can compare it to your list to see what you came up with. So I have light bulb, that's the obvious one. Idea, it could represent the word shine, learn, remember, think. Did you have any of those 6 words? Or did you come up with some different ones? What I'm going to do, there are more images. So if you want to try this with different images, there are more images on the slide. You can practice. And if 30 seconds is enough, isn't enough time, give yourself a minute to write down as many words as possible. And then there's a link to this Padlet, which shows you words that other people came up with. So if we take a look at this, we have bright, shine, bing, idea, brilliance, discovery, aha, good idea, epiphany, ding, ding. Let's see, any different ones? Shine, bright, inspiration. Did you come up with any of those words? You can also go to this Padlet and add your words onto this page if you would like to share with other people. So that's one game. That game is called Images to Words. And the purpose of it is to show you that once you learn how to draw this one simple image of a light bulb, now, and to do the light bulb, it's just really a few quick lines. It's like an upside down U. Here, I'll draw it on my page. I should have my tablet, but an upside down U. 3 lines at the bottom. I want you to just try drawing the light bulb and then some lines. Here, let's see. Oh, with my background, you can't really see it, but it looks really similar. And then draw the lines coming out to show that it's shining and you have a light bulb. How simple and how easy is that? Now we have another game, and this one is called Shape Sketch. The rules for this one are that you are going to spin the wheel and then you are going to, we'll do one together. So I'm going to start the timer and this time you're gonna have 1 minute. We saw how quickly 30 seconds goes by. Let's try 1 minute for this one. You're gonna draw as many objects as you can using that shape. Now, if you take a look on this slide and you see the example, if the shape was triangle, here are some images that I came up with in 1 minute. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 images in 1 minute. That's pretty good. Let's see, this QR code, if you scan it, where it's gonna take you is, it's gonna take you to my site that has a bunch of warm-ups and basics. So there's the images to word site. But the reason I like to go to this site is because this wheel is actually embedded on the site. So you can spin it right here, and then you can click on the timer and go. So that was a practice spin, but we will do this together. So get your, last time I had paper and pen, but you know what I realized? I realized that I can't show you what I'm doing on paper and pencil. So I'm gonna switch to my drawing app and I'm gonna tell you that my favorite free drawing app, well, I have two. My two favorite drawing apps for a tablet or mobile device is Adobe Sketch and Adobe Draw. They're free. They're on different devices. I'm Android, on the Google Play Store and in the Apple iOS store. And it's free and you can do so many things with it. You just have to be able to log in and create an account. So you'll have to look at those options. If you can't do it, there's some other options for free drawing programs. But let's try it. So I have my pen. I'm going to spin the wheel and give us 1 minute to create. Here we go. We have circle. Draw as many things as you can using a circle. Ready, go. All right. Now, the first time you do it, it might be a little bit hard, but the more and more you practice it, the better that you're going to get. Now, let's see if I can show you what I came up with. I don't know. I was stuck on a wheel of just drawing people. I was gonna just draw a bunch of emojis, which I could have done, and then I could have gotten a lot, but here, let me switch my share so that I can share my iPad instead. So let's do this. And now you can see what I came up with. I'll show you my thinking process here. I started out with pizza, which this is supposed to be like pizza on a tin. And then I thought, oh, well, you know what? I could have made this into a ring right here. So that's two. I had a smiley face. Then I said, oh, that looks like a hula hoop. So I can draw a person with a hula hoop. So we'll count that as one, two, three, four, five, a sun, six, sleeping, oh, seven, and then I did a baby, so eight. So a total of eight. How did you do? Did you create more things? Were they similar? Were they different? Try and do this with different shapes. And the more and more you do it, the quicker you'll get. And then you'll start to be able to generate some new ideas for your sketch notes. All right, I've saved my favorite game for last. Did you know that Google has their own experiment lab? It's true. If you don't believe me, check it out at experiments.withgoogle.com. Out of that experiment lab came this fun artificial intelligent game called Quick Draw. The way it works is that the program will give you 6 words and only 20 seconds to draw each word. Your goal is to let the computer or to get the computer to correctly identify your drawing. Now, every time you play the game, you're actually adding to the program's data set of an artificial intelligence, helping it recognize patterns, drawing patterns quicker each time. For this game, you'll definitely have to pause and play at least one time, just so that you can see what it's all about. Also, try it on different devices, because if you do it from a mobile device, then you'll be able to use your finger, which is definitely easier. But I'm going to show you a sample of it. I'm going to try drawing from my trackpad. And sometimes it's fun to see if you can get the computer to guess your drawing when you're drawing from a mouse or a trackpad on your computer. So you can scan the QR code, or you can just go to quickdraw.withgoogle.com, or if you're on this slide deck, if you click on this QR code, it'll take you there. And then you click on Let's Draw Peas. Let's see if I can draw peas in under 20 seconds. The cool thing about this is you can pause it and then you can start to think, okay, I can think of peas maybe in a pod. Let's try that. And I remember
I see line, or mustache, or spoon, or shoe, or canoe. I see string bean. Oh, I know, it's peas.
There we go. Peas. Blueberry. All right. Oh, blueberry.
I see moon, or circle. Oh, I know, it's blueberry.
Go. Bracelet. All right. How am I going to show a bracelet? I know it's round. It's that circle that we just did in the last drawing. Well,
I see moon, or circle. I see baseball. Oh, I know, it's bracelet.
there we go. That's exactly the drawing that I drew earlier. Okay, chair. Let's see. Draw a chair. Oh.
I see leg, or elbow, or diving board. Oh, I know, it's chair.
Okay, got it from that. Fence. Let's see.
I see mountain.
Thinking of those
I see crayon,
shapes,
or marker,
right?
or lipstick, or house. Oh, I know, it's fence.
Fence. There we go. And then truck. Think of the basic shapes.
I see elbow, or square, or suitcase,
square.
or pillow. I see van. I see bus. Oh, I know, it's truck.
There we go. Truck. Very cool. It gives you your 6 drawings, and they might not be the best looking things, but the computer was able to recognize it. As long as if the computer can recognize it and you can recognize it what it is, then those are the kinds of drawings that work really well with sketchnoting, because you should be able to draw anything in under 20 seconds. So if you like that game, try it out and see how you do. Now that you've played Quick Draw, you'll understand this web tool that is called AutoDraw. The drawing data that you just inputted into the data set by playing Quick Draw is the same data that is used for this web-based drawing tool. Scan the QR code or go to autodraw.com to check it out. I'm going to do a short demo for you, and then if you want, you can take off and try it on your own. So I'm going to go to AutoDraw. Let's see, where did I link it? Right here. Oh, here's an example, but you know what? I'm going to clear the page, start over. Now, this tool right here in the upper left-hand corner with the drawing and the little stars by it, that's the auto draw tool. So if you started to draw something, the computer is going to guess what it is. And actually, let's just start with that same drawing that I did for banana. Actually, that does look like a banana, but let's see if I can get it to draw peas. That's horrible. And I'm doing it with, here, let's see. There we go. It did. It noticed that I was drawing peas, and it's blue right now, you can see. But let's see. I'm actually going to make it black. Well, I think I have to do the select tool and then make it black. Well, let's try it again. It's not green, yellow, black. And then there's a fill tool. I can take the fill tool and I can fill it in green if I want to. Ooh, cool. I can actually, let me see if they have a darker green. Aha, they do. So there, I have this, and then I can take the select tool. I can make it bigger. I can move it around. So if you're looking for a web-based tool to draw some of your sketch notes, this is a really cool one because it has the auto draw feature. And then you can also type text. You can do regular drawings if you want to add your own regular drawings that aren't necessarily the auto draw. So like something simple that I might be able to do without auto draw using my trackpad is a sun, right? So you have your basic drawing tools, you have your text tools, you have your shape tools, and then, oh, you can also change the thickness of your lines here. So play around with it and you can make some really cool things using a web-based tool that uses artificial intelligence. And this tool is AutoDraw. So I recommend that you check it out. Now that we've gotten some playtime in, your brain is ready to and prepared for a little practice to further strengthen your drawing skills. Remember, our goal in sketchnoting is not to draw the most beautiful pictures. It's actually to be able to draw really quickly. So the more you build up your visual library, the faster and easier sketchnoting becomes. Scan the QR code to access all of my slides for the basics of sketchnoting. I'm going to give you a preview of each one and explain the importance of each category. So first, we are going to start with organizers. Now, organizers are a really easy way to start adding some visual elements into your sketch notes because they come in the form of bullets, containers, banners, and arrows. And with those, you can just create the simplest of shapes. And I will show you some examples here. Here are some bullets. You can just, if you simply put different types of bullet points, it's an easy way to draw your eye to a page. Arrows are very simple and easy to use. You can use fancy arrows that are colorful to really draw your eye in, or even just simple arrows on a page to point to important parts of your notes. Containers are another easy way to add a visual element, put a frame around an important idea. If it's an important date, you can put a little calendar box around it or a thinking bubble around something that is a question or something for you to think about. So those are some examples. And then banners are really simple. If you actually go to the slide and click on the link, then you can see these animated GIFs inside the slides that show you how I created these simple banners. And then on this last page, there are some video tutorials that can help you get through creating any of those organizing elements. So that's one thing. Fonts being used as words and images are another simple way to add visual elements. And it can just simply be by doing text. If you're really not comfortable with drawing just yet, try and use different types of fonts in your sketch notes. So here are different examples. If you're doing digital sketch notes, you can really use the thickness of the line to show bold and then make it skinnier so that you can show maybe less important things. Or you can vary your sketch notes by using all caps letters and then all lowercase letters for other things. So those are some ideas. And then you have some videos to help you. And let's see, the last thing I wanted to show you is that you can turn words into images. So I'm going to challenge you to try and make the word fast look fast. Make the word fun look fun. Make the word hot look hot. You could do it in the way that I did it, or can you creatively think of a different way to turn those same words into different images? That is a fun and easy way to create images using words as the starting point. Now let's go to simple images. On these slides, I show you how to create some of my most used images, like the light bulb. We saw this in the game that we played, Images to Words, earlier. I show you step by step how to create the light bulb. A link can be used for many things. I use it as connecting ideas. It links to something else. And it's really one line, two circles. That's all you need. So you can go through and practice some of these simple images and then try and create some of your own. Once you begin to learn what your drawing style is, you'll start to veer off and create your own variations of simple images just like this. So here's a car. It might, not exactly look like the car that you write in, but it's good enough. It gives you that idea. So those are some simple images that you can create. Another fun and easy thing to start with are emoji. We all know what emoji are. We use it very often in our text messages. And you can just practice drawing faces inside of shapes. You could practice drawing faces inside of circles, but try and draw different shapes and put those same faces inside different shapes to see what you can come up with. So I have also a YouTube video that you might be able to pull some inspiration from. And then the hardest element, but once you get it down, you're going to see that it's actually not that hard, are people. So when you add people to your sketch notes, what I want you to do is just start with the basic stick person. Head, line for the body, two lines for arms, two lines for legs, and then play around with the positioning. A person turned to the side, a person drooping down. That shows emotion simply by making those small changes. Now, you can just add one extra element of adding a rectangle for a body and look at how drastically it changed. And then you can play around with different positioning of the arms and legs and play around with doing curved lines for arms and then lines that are straight and show that elbow joint. And then let's see, star people, that's another good one to practice. You're going to find whatever works best for you, but I actually started out not liking star people. And if you look at my recent sketch notes, you'll see a lot of these type of people in my sketch notes. And then if you're drawing many, many people, you might just do regular stick people because it's just faster. Or I learned how to do a quick star person circle and then 1, 2, 3, 4 for the rest of the bodies and legs. And then here you're going to find lots of tutorial videos for how to draw different types of sketch people. So those are the basics. Go ahead and grab a piece of paper and start practicing. And the more you practice, the more that comfortable you're going to get. And then you start to build that visual library. And those images are ones that you can use in your sketch notes right away. I encourage you to practice some of those basic elements that I just showed you. And then I want you to challenge yourself to use 5 new visual elements the next time that you go and take notes for any of your classes. Now it's time to create. Here are some ideas to get you to start sketchnoting. The first idea is a selfie sketch. I want you to create a sketch that shares a story about yourself or an interest or the interests that you have. I'm going to show you an example of mine right here, and then you can pause the video and try and create one for yourself. Here's my example. I simply used each letter of my name as a container for images, and each one tells the story of who I am. Spring is my favorite season. I'm a huge Warriors fan. Inside the end, you can see my family. I don't have any kids, but I have a doggy family, and I'm definitely a music lover. And my name is Jenna, even though a lot of people say Gina, but I always have to tell people that my name is Jenna and it's short for Genevieve. So what is the sketch note that you're going to create about yourself? Here's a new challenge. Sketch a quote. Write down a favorite quote and add some doodles. This idea comes from middle school teacher Heather Marshall. And I think I found this idea just on a blog. I want you to find an important quote in a book that you're reading, an article, a video, a podcast, or something that somebody just said that sounds interesting to you. And then I want you to write it down on the page using the addition of some visual elements that we discussed earlier. When you're done with your quote, you can scan this QR code and add it to this Padlet so that you can share it with others. I'm going to show you an example from this Padlet. Here's a beautiful example from high school teacher Susanna Lee. The quote is, "A reader lives 1,000 lives before he dies. The man who never reads lives only one," by George R.R. Martin. What an interesting and effective layout that Ms. Lee chose. Now, I also want you to think about how you can use sketchnotes in math. We don't always think about using sketchnotes in math, but when you're going to do some problem solving, you might want to highlight some of the important words and draw it out, because you'll be surprised. Sometimes when you draw it out, you can see things in a different way. This is a very simple math problem, but when I actually drew it out, the dividing 3 chocolate bars by 4 friends actually made a lot of sense in this sketch note. Here's another math example where I love going to visualpatterns.org, and it gives you a lot of starting patterns, and your goal is to find what's going to happen on the 10th step or the 43rd step. So for me, drawing it out really helps my brain make those connections. So I challenge you to try and take some of those visual elements and use it for math. Now, here's an example of how I used a sketch note for design thinking. I put the blocks of the design thinking process: empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test. And I started to color code things so that I could design a classroom, right? I started out with a user map, and I sketched all of those things out to think about who my audience is. And at that point, I could do interviews and add to it. and then I defined a problem statement. And then in my ideation stage, I just started to sketch out some ideas before going into prototype and test it. And I also wanted to share this really powerful strategy of creating a sketch note and then recording your thinking. I did lots of sketch notes in elementary and middle school classes. And this is an example right here where we practice doing sketch notes. But in this class in particular, they had a seesaw class where they would take a picture of their sketch note, put it into the classroom feed, and then record themselves explaining what their sketch note was all about. I've also worked with teachers who have had students record their sketch notes and their thinking behind it in Flipgrid, whatever tool you want. Because if you can take a look at your sketch note and then verbalize what's going on, you're further cementing those ideas in your head, and you're helping make those connections that can lead and spark new ideas. So this is really the power of a sketch note. I encourage you to go out there, and the next time you go and try and take notes, try and add some of these elements and see if it helps you remember things and make those new connections a lot better than just the regular way of taking notes on a piece of lined paper. So I hope that you've gotten some new ideas from this presentation, and don't forget to scan the QR codes to get to this slide presentation, and have fun.